we've been through, I've still wore my ring. I've still shown that like I'm still committed to the marriage. Like if I'm showing the world that I'm married to you, then you should do the same.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Little Black Book. You already know what time it is, baby. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for the notification of the uploads, baby. And for those of you who are returnees and you know about the mineral gang, baby, gang, mineral, gang, mineral, gang, then you already know, baby, you ain't got the minerals, baby. Yeah. Listen, we're giving you a review of Married at First Sight. We're going to be talking to you guys about Michael and Meka once again. Where do we start? Where do we frick do we start? Because I don't know where to start from. So I think the first thing that obviously we just kind of go a little bit deeper. Obviously with Michael and Meka, there was a great disparity between the two of them. The original argument about the sex issue, we had Michael say, Michael being alleged to have said that he put a time frame on the sexual aspect of the relationship. Meka was not very happy about that. Felt like she was being pushed into that certain area and didn't want to commit on that level just yet. What we saw also as well was that in this episode there was a pastor cow conversation. I think it's very interesting to see the differences between the conversation. Number one, when Pastor Cow speaks to Meka, she keeps the same story exactly 100, so does Michael. But it makes me think, why does she keep the same story again if this wasn't true? There was no deviance from the conversation. Her initial point is the fact that he has stated there was a time frame in the sexual manner. Now here's the thing. Here's my big thing. Again, I feel like, as an expert relation in this field, we need to make men understand something. You don't get to police the body of a woman.
Have sex with him or be intimate with him.
Okay.
If I say I'm not ready, then that should be what it is, that I'm not ready.
Traditionally, many people associate marriage with sex. So it can be confusing when you marry a stranger because you are husband and wife. But to push or to prod each other in any way to have sex is inappropriate.
Look, I've been in many relationships. No, I haven't. I'm lying. I've been in relationships, right? I haven't been in so many relationships, but I've been around women, right? And the one thing I know is this. When it comes to sex, I've never had to speak about it. I've never had to tell a girl, listen, I want sex at this time. Most men, them who know their sources of a certain level, is certain source. Say it with me, certain source. Know that they don't have to discuss when they want sex at a time or when they want sex to start. You understand? Because at the end of the day, it's a conversation that gets fed through body language, eye contact, energy that the person is given. Like, we know, like, do you know what I'm saying? So the fact that it had to be discussed or discussed as a time frame lets me know there's too much thinking behind sex. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to get to know you. You understand? And if I got married at first sight, right? Yeah, regardless of whether I knew you 6 months before, a year before, or even I just get to know you just on that day, yeah? It's the same thing I'm doing what I do with a normal girlfriend. I get to know them, I like them, I talk to them, we have conversations. I'm trying to get to know your mind at the first base, you understand? I try to avoid a sexual thing, but I end up falling into a sexual thing, you understand? But now I'm 25, 26 months celibate, you understand? But I try to avoid that kind of thing. Reason being is because I know what happens to the relationship when we go into that aspect too quick. I don't know who you are, and now I'm getting gassed over your body. I don't need to get gassed over your body, I need to get gassed over your mind. Because at the end of the day, that body's going to fade. Do you understand? The Bible says beauty and charm, they're fleeting. You understand? They are fleeting. Both of them are, one is deceptive and one's fleeting. So you have to understand that even the Bible lets us know that, my guy, these outward things, they go quick. So let me get to know your mind. Don't get it twisted. What drew me in, yeah, would have been your face, your physique, your sexy melanin, you understand? But what's keeping me there isn't those things, because there are a bag of other girls and there's a bag of other guys out there who do what I do, who look probably even better than I do or better than you do. So what's keeping me there? What's keeping me there is the fact that I'm now seeing your mind and I'm trying to marry your mind, and I'm understanding, okay, this is your mind, and actually your mind is connected with mine, and our goals and our ambitions, our values are matching. You understand? This is very important. This is what we call interpersonal attraction. Because too many people are too focused on the physical attraction that they miss the interpersonal attraction. Do you know what brings friends together? Interpersonal attraction, yeah? When we have the same attitudes and values, goals, ambitions and stuff like that in life, yeah, and same character traits and stuff like that. We have that in common, and that's what draws us in a certain direction. The reason why certain friendships don't last is because one, they're for time and the season for some of them. Two, sometimes you're actually not friends, you're actually enemies. You just have a common enemy, and the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Some of you just haven't deeped it just yet. But when it comes to relationships, you have to build interpersonal attraction. You cannot you cannot solely go off the physical attraction. As Christians, we build also physical, interpersonal, and also the spiritual aspect of attraction. And this is very important. Do you understand? Because if we're not on the same level in terms of faith, when it comes to, let's say I'm Christian, you're Muslim, I never understand how that even works. But I understand that if two people are not really focused on their religion as such, then it can work. But when you're really endowed with your religion and your faith, someone else with a different faith you can't marry them, because there will be a clash. And the same thing happens in life. If you know you're destined, like for instance, there's some people that are destined for, let's say, I have a friend who's very much invested in, FGM and, sexual violence against women and stuff like that. She needs a partner that can understand that. If that person doesn't understand that and does not root for her in that area, he's got to go, because that is a big ass part of her life. And so when you know what you're called to do, what you're meant to do, the other person has to reflect that. They have to reflect it, and vice versa. It shouldn't just be women to men, and men to women too. We have to make sure that we both reflect what we're trying to achieve here. You understand? Cool. So now, when we're talking about Michael and Meka, when Pascal was dealing with Meka first, she explained the fact that the time scales and the sex and everything like that, and she wasn't happy about that, right? And Pascal said, "Listen, look, I'll talk to him, because I'm very hot on bringing the standard to the men, and I appreciate that, Pascal. We all appreciate that." When he obviously spoke to Michael, one thing I noticed was the body language. It was the facial expression.
Lost in translation in our initial conversations was me being a very direct and straightforward person, was just trying to get an understanding of where she was mentally, like what's her sexual makeup, because whether or not it happened tomorrow or it doesn't happen at all or happens in 7 weeks, you gotta at least know where you're coming from.
It was almost like this look of, as he's explaining it, like, because I don't know if he thought Pascal was going to be on his side. It just looked like he was almost like disagreeing with Pascal already. You know what I mean? That facial expression. And obviously, alongside that as well, when he was explaining this side, saying about, I got to know her mental state, where she's at mentally. And I'm like, how does where she's at mentally then fall in line with her physically talking about sex and where she's at the moment? Like I said, I've never had to have that conversation of time frames with a woman before. So this is alien to me. But he's saying that's normal to him. Like, to know the mind. And Pascal didn't correct him and say, listen, bro, you don't need to do that. Because once you're beginning to engage on that level, and if the person's feeling you, then it's going to work that way, fam. You understand? This should just fall into place. Sex is not something that I need to discuss. Obviously, when it comes to what you like and stuff, like, yeah, but we're already kicking it at that point. You understand? So you don't need to discuss time frames unless you feel like the person's not going to give you some. Simple as. Unless you think the person's not going to give you some, that is why you're discussing time frames. Right? And that's why I know he definitely said it, because even when he's talking to Pastor Cal, he's talking about the fact that I got to, I had to, you have to get to know her mentally, and then obviously get to know the sexual part of things as well. And I was like, that again just proves to me again that Michael said something which was beyond the line, and you have to check this behavior, because the Bible says that my body's not my own, it's my wife's, and my wife's body's not her own, it's mine. Right? What you need to understand by that is not when I say I want sex, it's my body so I can have it. Yeah, but at the same time, my body's her body. So if she says she doesn't want to have sex, I got to back up. You understand? Because what I'm doing to her, would I want that done to me? No. If I'm trying to force you into sex, I wouldn't want to be forced into sex. So why am I forcing you to sex? Do you understand where we're going with this? So it's important to understand that and make people to deep that. Listen, you may want something. But you cannot imposing a time frame on this as to then I'll be out. It's like, fam, but if this girl really liked you, there would be no time frame. Number two, if you really liked her, yeah, and you're feeling her, and this is gonna go somewhere, you wouldn't need to put a time frame on it, because it's gonna get there anyway. Like, as she said to him, it is 100% normal for me to want to have sex with you. 100% normal for you want to have sex with me. But she's explained again, I just want to get to know you first. And it's almost as if he needs a reassurance. Remember, his mum said he's a person that needs love, and he needs to be shown love. But if you understand love to be intimacy of sex, just like Keith was understanding it for the last season, and not understanding that intimacy goes beyond sex, then you're going to miss it. Right? So I don't know, maybe him going around the women and what they've explained to him about what women are like or what relationships he's had in the past, that intimacy is getting lost on the understanding of what intimacy is. It goes beyond just piping you. You understand? It goes onto a level where I'm searching and going to doors in your mind to find out who is this person standing before me. What is their identity? I'm trying to get to know you, bruv. Listen, I've made the mistake of jumping into sex too soon, and trust me, dog, it does not bode well. Because actually, when you want to know, you need to know the darkness of this person. The Bible talks about a time where Jacob in the Bible, was meant to marry the second daughter, was meant to marry Rachel, the younger daughter. But in the middle of the night when he was sleeping, after he had done the ceremony for Rachel, Leah came in the middle of the night, got into bed and had sex with him, right? Now, how did he not know that? It was dark. And darkness always represents, sometimes represents, so I should say, a lack of knowledge, because you're not illuminated. You're not in darkness, there's a lack of knowledge. So when there's light, there is an illumination, meaning there is knowledge that's come into the place. I now know. You get me? And he didn't know who was in the bed with him. He assumed it was Rachel because it was dark. She came in the middle of the night and assumed it was Rachel. But actually, when he woke up in the morning, when light had come in, he saw it was Leah. Understand this, until you see the darkness of somebody, until you see the depths of the wickedness of that person, you don't want to be marrying that person, because you don't know if you can cope. Yeah? And sometimes the wickedness is the fact that they leave the socks on the floor and they leave the toilet seat up and they don't wash dishes. And sometimes that is a frustration. You need to see that evil. Don't just marry someone on the cleanness. Understand? Don't just marry someone on the cleanness. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Because we're in a day and age where people can up and leave so quickly, whereas in the past, they could do that. Because people were committed to the end, the bitter end. You can't just divorce. No. But here, we don't have that. So it's important to understand. So when I see Michael and Meka, I was just looking at him and I was wondering, okay, Michael, where you going?
Is he still sleeping in the room?
I honestly couldn't tell you where he is. I don't really know.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Did he sleep in the room with you?
He didn't.
He did not?
He's
You
in
guys have
separate rooms.
Okay.
When it was interesting again, because Meka went to the pool first with the guys and stuff like that, and you know they one thing. The only thing about Meka, I want her to just be able to know is time and season, and the reason why is this, because like there are places where you can discuss. And there are places where you just have to just kind of rein it in, because you don't know these people yet, like that. You know the women, but not necessarily the blokes, right? And something about men is that we take offense to being embarrassed in public, a lot of us, because of the pride, right? And so when Meka came and sat down, and then they said, "Where's your husband?" etc. I don't think she had much of a choice here. This in this particular instance, I don't think she had much of a choice, because, fam, where is he? I mean, she could have covered for him and said, "Look, I would have appreciated if she did, but I can't fault her for not covering him." By saying, I don't know where he is. I don't know where he is. And everyone's looking at her and just feeling sorry a little bit for her. And then, even it's interesting because even Brandon, who was being off of Taylor, suddenly came forward and asked her, like, "Are you okay?" Want to make sure she's all right. And then everything was just focused on her, just trying to make sure she's okay. And everybody was a little bit stunned. But actually, that honesty is something that I guess a lot of us lack. Yeah, when we're not okay, we just say, well, no, we're good. But maybe you know what? Maybe we're looking at it incorrectly. I don't know. Maybe comment down below, let me know. Maybe we're looking at it incorrectly. Maybe it was right for her to do that because actually, bare people be lying about how they're feeling. Do you know what I mean? And maybe when she did that, it kind of put a lot of pressure off people thinking, be perfect. Do you know what I'm saying? So that was interesting when she did that. And then when he does join Michael, obviously everyone already kind of knows something's up. Secondly, he comes and sits kind of far away from her, so it looks a bit odd. Do you get what I'm saying? And they look on opposing sides, innit? But he comes in fine. He comes in like he's joking, he's catching jokes. He lays on Derek, makes a little bit of a joke. Everyone's still feeling finesse and fine. He then has good news, and I felt, and this is what I'm saying about relationships, where I say that you want that unity, right? You just got a new job, yeah. You just got a new job where you've been made principal, and you had to go and obviously, even interview other people, etc., etc. So you've had a bit of a busy day in the morning. That's why you've come down. Do you get me? And because again, look, there's no unity between these two. There was no discussion beforehand. Say, listen, look, Meka, let's keep this between ourselves for now. When we go down there, let's just be unified. You know what I'm saying? But because there was no communication that was made, fam, unless she's intuitive on that level and understands that, she's not gonna cover you. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I would have gone like, nah, she's not here at the moment. Like, we just had to just sort some things out. She would come down a bit. Do you know what I mean? I would have covered the person because that's the way I am. But I don't expect everyone to be like that because I know that people operate in different ways. You know what I'm saying? But again, you can't expect that if you haven't communicated that. Do you know what I'm saying? So, the news of the job, the job. Listen, this should have been something that should have been celebrated with your partner. These are the kind of final moments in our lives and relationships where we get excited about being able to share some quality things with our partner, like, babe, I got a new job. And like, the person celebrates the fact you got a new job and da-da-da. Like, that's what you want, the gas and gang from your own partner, not from the rest of the crew. But, without communication again, without that great connection that you have with that person, can't do that.
How are things going with you, man?
It hasn't happened. We had an initial conversation. We agree we're not going to consummate the marriage. I'm in no rush to have sex. And like everything else needs to be right before I even urge that grat for myself personally. But nah, not for me. I'm in no rush and we'll get there.
And for me as well, I felt like, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I don't know. Again, comment down below if you think differently as well. I would love to hear your opinions. I really thought that when Michael came in, he should have just pulled Meka aside and said, look, God, Meka, let's just talk quickly, have a little bit of a conversation. And the reason why is because, like, I feel like sometimes people let things fester, and it's like unnecessary festering. Like, you've had a conversation with Pastor Cal, whether you slept in different beds, like you've had all night and all day, and now the morning as well. Like, pull her aside because the energy's off in the group, like, and everyone can see it. So rather than continue the energy off in the group, let's repair things. Let's prepare things, you know what I'm saying, and put ourselves in a better place so that when we're going from our friends, we're not looking stupid, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying? I felt like he should have, as a man, he should have come in and just been like, look, let's talk about this now. Come, let's go. Come, let's just talk about this. And then if she rejected, then you know that obviously this person's unreasonable when it comes to dealing with these issues. Do you understand? Because he should have really had this discussion, cleared the air, led the conversation, and just been like, look, my bad. You know what? Look, we stepped on the wrong foot, and got things out the air. But sometimes we've all got pride in it. So sometimes we want to fester in the anger, fester in the annoyance. And listen, even me, as I was watching, I was thinking about myself and a situation that happened to me in the past where I became silently, passively aggressive when my partner at the time did me wrong, and I was just festering and brewing, bruv. And I didn't want to sit next to her, I didn't want to talk to her. I sat on the opposite end of the church areas as well and stuff like that. And then it was like later on where people noticed I was vexed. And other people had to notice that I was vexed. And when I look back and I'm like, that was wrong. Because I could have easily played this nicely and been like, you know what, I'm vexed. And babe, don't do that again. Like, don't ever do that again. That's madness. Like, you know what I'm saying?
How's your day going?
Not too bad, pretty chill. How was yours?
I talked to Pastor Cal, and I know he said he was calling you. How did that go?
There was a situation at the table which also kind of got me as well, which kind of, I wouldn't say frustrated me, but I mean, there was a little quick thing I was looking at, and it's when, Michael just, you do the pleasantries, right? Where it's like, hello, how you doing? I'm doing good. And then he asks her, like, how's you doing? And then she's just, first thing that Meka does, is go straight into, then you had a conversation with Pastor Cal, how's it doing? So you ignore my question. Now, I'm hoping that was a cut scene. But it's like, I don't know if that was. Like, and if that wasn't, that's hella rude. Like, and that's what I'm saying about the directness of Meka. That with that directness, you can be very off-putting. Behaving like my mum is very off-putting. Behaving like you're my parent, very off-putting. Behaving like you know better than me, very off-putting. That's not just to anybody, that's to anybody, male or female. So, when I heard that, I was like, okay, Meka, I need you to chill, alright? Do the pleasantries and then get into me like, look, hey, look, I just want to talk to you about this, that. But Meka can be very direct and the tone can be very parenty. Because obviously I know that she's been in, and I told you this from the very first episode. I said, that the fact that she's been a parent for pretty much played a parent and everything like that is going to play a role in this relationship. And if the person can't handle that, it's going to be an issue, because nobody can really handle that. Nobody wants to be told like walks like a parent. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to behave like you're a parent, you're doing me a disservice. You understand? I already have a parent, and you playing like a parent is doing my nothing. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm a grown ass man. Talk to me nicely. So that was something that I just noticed that was very key as well. And obviously with Mike and Meka as well, I think I saw a few things where Mike was just like, he's really scrutinizing the information that was coming back from Meka. His eyes were just squinting. He's got his hands on his forehead like this. Like he's really trying to assess what's coming his way, and just taking in the information. I think for me, obviously, when he went on to explain as to why he's not wearing the ring, I just wanted to call out bullcrap. Brother, listen, we are married, and I want to just stress this point, because this is what we call rationalization as a self-defense mechanism. When you try to make something make sense, but it doesn't make sense. When you've got a really seemingly good excuse as to why this crazy situation has happened, rationalization, it's a self-defense mechanism. Now, this ring is to symbolize marriage. It's to symbolize the good times, the bad times, right? So you're saying to me, you're taking it off because you feel like you haven't been a husband and you don't feel like we're in a marriage. Now, if you stick to that story, I still don't like it, but let's stick to the story.
In regards to the ring, I haven't felt like I've been in a marriage. And separate from that issue, I haven't done the best job of being your husband.
But then later on, he actually says, we are in a marriage. The same conversation. He goes, we're in a marriage though.
I mean, we're in a marriage. So the goal is not to get to the end of 7 weeks and be like, oh, we're going to be good friends. Like, the goal is to stay married.
You know, and I think he was when he was trying to reply to a point about being friends. We are in a marriage. So at where are you, Michael? Are you in a marriage or you're not in a marriage? You're saying that you feel like you failed her, then continue. Okay, you feel like you failed her. You don't take the ring off. The ring is a symbolization of your marriage. And in marriage, it's to do a life and death. You know what I'm saying? Life and death. It's till death do us part. You understand? So taking off the ring symbolizes you done. It doesn't symbolize anything else apart from the fact you done. And you saying, I don't feel like I'm, it almost reminds me of my first ever girlfriend I ever had. I remember. First ever girlfriend. And I was the exact same. It's like almost a self-pity, naive, perfectionist. Like if I get it wrong, oh my gosh, you're going to leave me kind of thing. Because you don't know how to behave. You've never been in a relationship before. You know what I'm saying? And it's that freshness that comes to it. And that's almost what he's doing here. And with that, it's like, yo, my G, like, fam, put the ring back on. And almost like I felt like it was a power play. I felt like he tried to make a certain move, like statement by, taking the ring off by saying, I don't think I'm good enough, rah, rah, da, da, da. But then when she took her ring off and said, listen, well, if you're not ready for it, then me too, I'm not going to put my ring on until a certain time. Then you saw his face and you heard the response, okay. Like, yo, he was shocked. Why? Because you thought that she would keep the ring on. That just lets me know that you didn't expect that. Why didn't you expect that? Because like I said, sometimes we do things almost in a power and control manner. Like this was a controlled manner. As much as it was naive, it was like you feel like you're self-pitying yourself, etc. Like you taking the ring off was a power move for yourself. Yeah? It's removing the shackles from your hands and say, you know what I'm saying? And anything can happen at that point. And actually what it symbolizes to a person is, oh, okay, they're not committed then. So why am I committed? You know what I'm saying? Like, again, it's the same thing about him going to sleep in another room. He's done the exact same thing here. Taking the ring off is the exact same thing. You're quitting. You ain't trying to resolve something. You're quitting. You're shutting down. You understand? And I said this from when they told us this, when they told Meka this. I said, that is not a great quality. You're telling me that I shouldn't be able to say anything to him and he shuts down. What? Grow up. You need to grow up. You need to grow up. And I know all of us have our things. Don't get twisted. We're not saying that people don't have their things. What we're saying is that this particular aspect needs to be grown up. Because the way that we handle conflict and resolute things is requiring of you to behave and not to shut down. Because when you shut down, you shut me out. And we discussed this previously when we were when she brought this up to him when we were having a conversation in the last few episodes, and he said he's changed his ways, but actually he's only redirecting the energy into elsewhere, leaving and saying I'm going to sleep somewhere else when they're having an argument. You didn't have to, didn't need to. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't need to. Then now you're going to take your ring off. What do you want to do? Like, what?
You want to put yours back on, and then we can both agree that we'll have them on.
What do you want to do? You're again running again instead of actually solving the issue. You know what I'm saying? So I'm seeing these little things. I'm saying you may, think I don't feel sorry for him. Like, in that respect, like we need to get people to get you to understand. Listen, you can't do that. You can't emotionally manipulate situation. You know what I'm saying? And then not expect a return. You get me?
I've fallen from day one to now, and how much work I still have left to do. So I will wear my ring again. I can't give you a timeline, but I know in my heart it's going to happen because I want to be the man that you wanted and that you met when you came down that altar.
I'll wear the ring, but I just can't give you a timeline. Oh, right. So you are not sure when you're going to win this ring again. So where are you putting this person in this position of? So again, it's an emotional manipulative move. I'm just going to be real with you. I don't know when I'm going to put this ring on again. So the person's thinking, oh my God, like, are they leaving me? Da, da, da. They're left in limbo. Bro, see, these things look innocent. I know these because I do them. I did them. I know these things because I did them myself. And they are manipulative behaviors. They're tiny little manipulative behaviors that actually are trying to get the person to change their behavior in a certain way and get them to think in a certain way. And it's one of the things I've had a challenge with when me and God are talking, yeah, when I was in a relationship. This is one of the things that God was dealing with me with. How not to try and manipulate situations, because I'm used to manipulating it. I'm used to twisting it to my advantage. I'm used to getting my way in little different aspects of emotional manipulation that don't look obvious, that are covert, but really they are emotionally twisting and getting the person to respond in a certain way. Do you understand? And we all do it. Things like when you go and put your best life on your social media after you've broken up. You know what you're doing. You want that person to see it and feel a certain way. You're emotionally trying to manipulate the person to a certain thing. We all do it. And someone might say, no, that's just me. I just want to live my... No. You know what you're doing. You want a response. You are trying to elicit a response by doing that. That's what the emotional manipulation there. But that's fine. We are all trying to learn and grow. You know what I mean?
How is the relationship progressing?
I feel like I came into this knowing that it would be hard, but I never imagined it would be this hard. It's hard to be with somebody that you don't really feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
And you're married to them, so there's nowhere you can go. There's nothing you can really do.
For a video, but the table at the very end where the people noticed that they weren't wearing their rings. Meka again was very forthcoming before that, and again I just feel like, fam, maybe potentially this might not be the right time to be that forthcoming. Be that forthcoming with your husband, but not with the whole table. But I understand as well, again, maybe feeling a little bit lonely, and that, that expression, that outward expression is something that's helping her to be able to be free and be able to express herself, be able to not feel so isolated, which I think she kind of mentioned that, it almost feels like you're isolated in your relationship, like you've got nowhere to turn, nowhere to go, there's no escape, you're stuck here, and that's the truth. And that's something that we can dive into a little bit later on. But yeah, guys, that's the Michael and Meka review. Please let us know down below what your thoughts are, what your feelings are, what you kind of heard and what you saw, what your feelings are towards the whole situation as well. Love to hear from you guys as well. Hey, you already know what time it is. You ain't got the minerals, baby. Listen, make sure you get your Tardia. Make sure you get your clothing, Make sure you get your mineral gang. We're going to bring some new designs out as well. So watch out for that coming in the Feb thing. You get me? We're bound to do new things, cuz. You understand? Yeah. Appreciate you, my guy.